Okay, so Suns Nuggets game 4 was nuts. It feels like KD and Booker are just making every single shot they attempt, and in the case of Booker, he pretty much is making every single shot he attempts. But I also think the Suns have been doing some interesting things on offense besides just hoping those two are really good. And also, Jokic was also amazing, so let's get into it. And also, we'll get into Landry Shamet's threes and all that. So, as we know, the Nuggets, they want Jokic higher up on screens on KD and Book, sometimes bringing two to the ball, and I do think the Suns have slowly figured out some ways to go at that in this thing, because in the first two games, they looked just kind of puzzled by the whole thing. So, there was a play in the first quarter of last night's game where Ayton goes to set an off-ball screen for KD, while Devin Booker has the ball in the right wing. And you could see Jokic and Aaron Gordon like starting to prepare, believing that KD was then going to get the ball from Booker and then immediately go into something. And in that moment, Booker just attacks in a straight line and he gets a layup. Another one where it's a KD Ayton screen. So we got Jeff Green and Jokic with two to the ball. This is also on the right wing. And then Terrence Ross relocates to the top of the key as Ayton is at the free throw line. So that forces the Nuggets to be in a little bit of, rotation. What do we do? This is all with Devin Booker on the opposite wing. And then it's a swing to Booker, who then attacks off the catch, makes a pull-up jumper over Bruce Brown. There was a play in the third where they had KD and Ayton set a double screen for Booker, and so that was just like more ground for Jokic to cover, so he wasn't able to just, meet him right at the level. He was able to get downhill, get a pull-up mid-range off. And speaking of that, it did feel like Phoenix ran more just double screens up top. I remember one that led to like a Jock Landale, some at the rim, another one that led to DeAndre Ayton rolling to the basket. It's, definitely a different look versus the, they want to put Jokic high up on screens thing. That type of good stuff. And then late in the third, Devin Booker just makes a three over Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, because why not? Like, again, he is making some insane shots as well. But look, the Suns are moving it too, man. I mean, the Nuggets, they're bringing two to the ball, not every single time, but they're certainly trying it out. And, I remember at least two plays where KD or Booker were basically one pass away from each other, and so the double's going to one guy and then the other guy's open. Or one of them wasn't a double, it was like Aaron Gordon helping off of KD at the wing, right at the free throw line on a driving Booker. But it's like, that's the tough spot that you put that help defender in, because it's like, well, if I don't help, then it's Booker downhill. If I do help, it's KD open, And I think some of that speaks to the Landry Shamet threes. Now, Shamet did have one pull-up three where he basically just went into cook mode and he made it. But two of his threes were off the back of the Nuggets just bringing extra guys in the ball. And so one of them, they bring two to Booker. KD, again, one pass away. Like, Booker's on the right wing, KD's on the left wing. And then Jamal Murray, who's guarding Shamet in the corner, he has this moment of like, oh crap, that's Kevin Durant open, I have to go there, because Gordon went to Booker, right? And so then it's just a great read from Booker where he's basically got 1 second, where if he's a second too late, then it's probably a closeout and then something else has to happen on the play, but he finds Shamet for the three. I mean, the Nuggets can certainly be like, if not less predictable, then at least like faster on these things. But you also got to give credit to Phoenix, because there's like a specific window of time you have to make these plays, and they're making them right now. I'm going to appreciate Jokic, don't worry, but also little stuff where, like, you bring two to Booker, it's a swing to Terrence Ross, he gets a screen from Landale, he gets a pull-up jumper over Aaron Gordon on a good contest, or it's two to Booker, throw it to Okogie, middle of the floor, swing to Cameron Payne, one dribble off the corner into a floater, just enough stuff from the other Suns on top of, Shamet having the 5 threes and all that. I mean, if you want to just look at the stats, 12 assists for Booker, 6 for KD, on top of still the biggest thing, of course, just Devin Booker's just literally not missing anything. It's the wildest thing. Okay, let's talk Jokic. So, we've got hook shots, we've got turnarounds, we've got little off-ball actions where, like, KCP will set him a screen to where he can get some momentum to the rim, and then Ayton's there, but it's still, Jokic, or we've got a crazy three-point play, long two-pointer where he doesn't even really shoot it anymore, so just throws it as Devin Booker's all over him for a, again, three-point play. We've also got floaters from him when the Suns are trying drop on the Jokic-Murray two-man game. Here's the thing. Jokic had 11 assists. If you go through the assists, like, there's some transition stuff, there's some cross-court passes when he's in the post, but they're not double teams. They're just, like, sagging off of, like, their guy a little bit, and they're not even really sagging that much. It's just Jokic is that great to, like, hit MPJ in the shooting pocket, let's say. You've got, like, little give-and-goes where he'll throw it to Bruce Brown, and then, Brown will be at the top of the key, and because of where Jokic is, it's like effectively a screen if Brown just drives in a straight line, or, Murray cutting when Jokic is up top. Like, you've still got, like, the beautiful Nuggets basketball stuff, but still, the Suns, they're not hard doubling every time Jokic is in the post. I mean, there's little things here and there, like, I remember one where KD helped from the baseline, and he was there, like, right when Jokic kind of made his spin. I don't remember if it was against Landale in the post or Ayton. And then KD was actually able to, if it was a block or a strip, I don't know, but he was able to, stop him on one. And then it happened the next play, and then Jokic was a little faster, and so he got the shot over him, and of course he made it. And there's a couple times where there ends up being two dudes on him as he's making his move. Like one, there was a Jock Landale, I think Terrence Ross moment, and he got a three-point play. One where it's KD and Ayton all over him after a Gordon Jokic pick and roll within the three-point line. So there are those moments, but there's also the plays where he's just making a shot over single coverage. And I think it's because he's just that good of a passer. They're just scared to open the floodgates for everybody else, you know? And I do want to talk about the rest of the Nuggets in a second, but I do want to appreciate just a few Suns defensive plays. I mean, it was a very much an offensive game, but there were like a few things in there. I remember early in the fourth quarter, Shamet, just in general, was making Jamal Murray's life kind of difficult, like doing a really good job fighting around screens, guarding him well in the post. Murray made one turnaround jumper over him, and there was one play that I remember the most where Shamet, he gets around a Murray screen, and then Jamal Murray swings it to MPJ in the corner. He's driving. Terrence Ross, like, digs in from the wing really well to just like slow MPJ down for a second, and then Landale has a great just like vertical contest on him at the rim. Anyway, for the rest of the Nuggets, I was not a fan of a lot of MPJ's shots, with the biggest one being that pull-up three-pointer in transition. Like one of his threes was at the end of the shot clock, so that's okay, but in his mind there is no bad shot for him, but there were just a few times where I was like, you know, I get it was technically a catch and shoot, but your dude was like basically right there on you. I don't know if you had to take that with like 15 on the clock. There was also one where he drove into traffic that I thought was a little unnecessary. And when I say all that out loud, my brain immediately goes to, well, what if you have him run more handoff actions with Jokic, which could maybe lead to some daylight for him, or, you know, a cut to the basket or whatever, which I'm sure they've tried if you go through every single play of their offense throughout the series so far. As for Jamal Murray, so if you look at the stat line, 28 and 7 on 52 shooting. Like, he made shots, especially from like mid-range free throw line area. But even with that, I felt conflicted with his game overall. There were a few plays where it just felt like he was over dribbling, especially one really ugly one when Jokic wasn't in the game. And maybe I'm just being too harsh on him, but the margins are really close, man. It's round 2 of the playoffs. But yeah, the series is really good, and Game 5 is going to be wild.